Good evening. Welcome to the Thursday, August 11th edition of the Park and Recreation Board. Welcome, everybody. Glad to see everybody has a mask in place. We will start our meeting tonight with a flag salute. We are going to be led by one of our CIT graduates.
Please stand. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Lupe is going to call the roll.
Yes. Chair Barry Gasal.
I'm here.
Board Member Lori Durbin.
Here.
Board Member Ashley Ramsey.
Here.
Board Member Ara Masurlian.
Here.
And absent Maisha Gamino.
Thank you so much, Lupe. And now I'd like to introduce Grace Coronado with announcements.
Good evening, Chair Gasal and members of the board. I'm Grace Coronado, Administrative Officer with the Parks and Recreation Department. If we could please show the PowerPoint presentation. Tonight, I have the pleasure of sharing the department's program announcements and updates. Resident registration now open. Play more this fall. Check out the latest recreation guide for over 240 recreation class options. Resident and non-resident registration is now available at www.burbankparks.com or in person at any of our recreation facilities. Fall youth sports registration now open. The Parks and Recreation Department's sports office offers a variety of sports leagues to sign up as a team or as a free agent. Sports registration is open for girls fast pitch softball, youth indoor, and flag football. If you don't have a team, not a problem. Sign up as a free agent. Registration will be open until August 19th, and league plays begins early September 2022. Please visit www.burbankca.gov/youth sports or call 818-238-5330 for information on season start dates and league schedules. Verdugo Aquatic Facility closed for annual maintenance. The Verdugo Aquatic Facility will be closed starting Sunday, August 14th for scheduled annual maintenance and will reopen on Monday, August 29th. Lap swim will be moved to McCambridge Pool during this time. Please visit www.burbankca.gov/aquatics or contact the aquatic staff during posted lap swim hours at 818-238-5381 for up-to-date information. Youth Leadership Program application period opens August 23rd. Learn and Lead. The Youth Leadership Program application period begins on the 23rd and remains open until Saturday, September 24th. The Youth Leadership Program facilitates opportunities for high school students to earn volunteer service learning hours, develop confidence and leadership skills, learn about educational and career opportunities, build personal resumes, network with fellow high school students, and get to know the city and its leaders. For more information about Youth Leadership Program, call 818-238-5390 or visit www.burbankca.gov/YLP. Parks and Recreation, to stay up to date on the latest happenings with the department, be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. You can also find out about our programs and events I've mentioned above by visiting our website at www.burbankca.gov/parks and rec events. Thank you, and that concludes the department's announcements.
Thank you, Ms. Coronado. It is now time for presentations, the CIT recognition, and I would like to introduce Ms. Bria Wade.
Good evening, Chair Barry Gasau and Park Board members. My name is Bria Wade, and I'm a Recreation Coordinator in the Youth Program section at Verdugo Recreation Center. Thank you so much for having us here to present the Summer 2022 Counselor in Training Program, also known as the CIT program. The CIT program is a volunteer program for high school students that runs during the school year and summer for 9 to 10 weeks. During the school year, students volunteer in our After School Days program, where they learn firsthand how to interact and supervise elementary-age children. In addition, during the summer months, students volunteer in our Summer Days program at Verdugo, McCambridge, Robert Gross Park, the Stowe Canyon Nature Center, and the Betsy Lukey Creative Arts Center. Today, we recognize 15 outstanding students in our Summer 2022 CIT program. To become a CIT, students must apply and participate in a selective interview process and orientation. Once accepted, students are assigned a camp location and must maintain a minimum of 3 absences. CITs also must complete 3 activities during their volunteer assignment to include a sport or a game, a craft, and an activity of choice. These activities provide students with first-hand experience interacting with school-aged children, further strengthening their leadership skills. CITs also receive monthly training sessions on topics including interview skills and tips on approaching a job interview. Many of our current employees in the Parks and Recreation Department were hired after completing the Counselor in Training program. I also started out as a CIT. As you know, high school students have many responsibilities, from homework and studying to sports teams, extracurricular activities, and even caring for elders or younger siblings. We're proud to mention that together, CITs have volunteered over 1,800 hours to the City of Burbank Parks and Recreation Department. So congratulations, students, on completing the Counselor in Training program. You not only volunteered your time, but you made an impact on the lives of young children in your community. Before we hand out certificates, we will hear from 2 of our summer CITs who will share their experience this summer with us in their own words. Please welcome Hema Hernandez.
Hello, everyone. My name is Hema Hernandez, and as some of you may know, my mother was Esmeralda Hernandez, aka Esme. And I'm proud to follow in her footsteps, involving myself in the community and the city that she loved. It's been an amazing, emotional, and eye-opening journey that is definitely not over for me yet. I've been a CIT for 2 summers now, and it just keeps getting better. Everything that I've learned while volunteering with the city has shown me many reasons why my mom loved her job so deeply. All the fun and games, the bonds and relationships created, the love and joy brought into the workspace that children look forward to being in every day. The wonderful memories made at Summer Days, Verdugo Park, the amazing moments that I'll keep in my heart forever. The kids definitely impacted my life, as I hope I did theirs. They reminded me to dream like a kid dreams, to love like a kid loves freeze dance, to forgive each other, even if it's something small. And the kids reminded me of something that my mom always taught me, which is to always love life and live it smiling and filled with laughter. Receiving this certificate today means so much to me, and I'm so grateful for Bria, Buster, and Ian for holding on to me for another summer. Thank you for helping me follow in my mom's footsteps. Now I will have a visual reminder of what I've accomplished. So again, thank you, and don't forget to smile.
All right. Thank you, Hema. Next up, we'll hear from Eric Huschler.
Hello, my name is Eric Heschler, and this summer I volunteered as a CIT at the Verdugo Summer Days Teen Camp with kids ages from 10 to 14. I had a lot of fun this summer, and whether it was working with the kids or planning new activities for them, it was amazing to be able to work alongside the other counselors and be able to give back to the community and give the older kids a great summer like I had when I attended the program at their age. And this job was in general just a great experience, and I would like to thank my superiors and everyone else at the program for making it possible to give me this opportunity. Thank you all, you are wonderful, and I hope to come back again next year.
Thank you, Hema and Eric. At this time, I would like to ask Chair Gasau, to assist me in presenting our certificates. All right, students, I will call your name, and you will have a chance to take a picture, and then if you could just step to your left, and we'll all take a group picture together. All right, let's hear it for our CITs. All right, first up we have Sabrina Beckett. Parents, if you want to take a photo, you can. Damian Bergen. Bianca Shurik. Isabella Garcia. Isabella Galustians. Hema Hernandez. Eric Huschler. Lila Huschler. Andrea Lowe. June Lopez. Good job, June. Grace Mitchell. Zoe Mauser. Nalina Mullen. Ella Mwini. Good job, Ella. And last but not least, Amy Yu. All right, parents, one more time for all of our CITs. Can you all come this way? Yep, we're just going to take one group photo. some people can come this way.
In the front.
Yep. So you'll all come this way. You all, there we go, there we go. Okay, first row, scrunch down a little bit. There we go. All right, 1, 2, 3, CIT. 1, 2, 3. CIT. Thank you. Woo!
That was terrific. Thank you so much, Bria, for doing that, putting that together, and congratulations again to all of you. And hopefully, some of you will wind up with staff positions here in the Park and Rec Department, and I hope that some of you really want to do that. It's a great, great experience, and look forward to seeing you here one night. So, it is now time for the Department Director's Report. Mr. Diego Ceballos, help us out.
Nothing to report today, Chair
Nothing to
Casal.
report. Thank you. And now it is time for public comment. I'm sorry. Now it is time for a script that I must read. So, see y'all. Thank you again. Folks, we've lost our audience. Well, that's good. We haven't lost all of our audience. So tonight I'm going to read a city council ordinance. In accordance with city council ordinance to help slow the spread of COVID-19, city council adopted an emergency proclamation on Tuesday, July 19th, requiring face coverings to be worn while in attendance at all city of Burbank public meetings, including but not limited to meetings of the city council and its boards and commissions. We appreciate all attendees joining us in person for wearing a face covering while they are inside the council chamber. Thank you for that. And now it's time for public comment. Now it's time for general public comment for members of the public who are here in person and wish to speak. Please submit a completed yellow general public comment card to the recording secretary. Any person speaking during general public comment may address the board on any matter related to the Parks and Recreation Board. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person, please. In order to promote fairness, please stay within your maximum allotted time of 3 minutes. A timer is available on the podium to help the speaker keep track of how much time is left. Please state your name for the record. I encourage you to call in during the general public comment period as well. Please call now at 818-238-3335. I'll repeat that, 818-238-3335. Calls will be placed in a queue until all in-person comments have been received. For callers, please remember to lower the volume on your TV or computer and take your phone off speaker when you deliver your public comment. At this time, we will begin in-person comments. The first speaker card I have is Steve Weiss. Steve, please approach the podium.
Thank you. My name's Steve Weiss, and I actually have a quick question for Diego. When I was online, is this the new plan, or you're not going to take the diamonds and break them into 4? I'm almost done then. Thank you. I actually just wanted to address the AstroTurf idea. That's another question I can ask. How much of the number 10s are going to be AstroTurf versus regular grass?
I'm sorry, Chair Gasell. This is a public comment on anything that's existing agenda item. The AstroTurf project at Bryce Canyon Park is not part of an agendized item today.
Still, we're talking about the master plan for George Isaiah?
Okay, so you can make a comment. We're not able to respond. It's not going to be a back and forth response
This is
period.
unfortunately not a question and answer time. It's a public comment time.
Okay, unfortunately, because there's no specifics on the master plan, it makes it hard for me to ask or answer questions. So I guess I'll just address it as if that's the case. We're going to be potentially replacing grass and sprinkler systems to what was very nicely taken care of. They're trying to maintain all the public reception regarding the trees. Everybody wanted to keep the old growth trees, which is really important to all of us. So if they replace all the grass and they remove the sprinklers, the roots for all these great 50, 75-year-old trees are not going to have the same watering potential. And we're also going to be destroying the mycelium in the ground. So I'd like to make a comment on that. And I'm hoping we could maybe replace the idea of AstroTurf with something, because California's on the cutting edge all the time. If we could start making these public spaces a way for experimentation or innovation, some kind of a sprinkler system that doesn't waste water, or maybe we can have this in-ground system, drip watering, something like that. So do you have a timer for me? I don't know where we're at. 53, okay. Well, that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The next speaker card I have is John Adams, also speaking on agenda item number 1.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am John Adams. I teach Tai Chi at the northern corner of the park. It is a beautiful location all year round for outdoor exercise. There's Qigong and all sorts of other people do exercise there. The idea that, excuse me, I mean, tens of thousands of people enjoy this park and these beautiful old trees. And the idea that AstroTurf would be put in, which would disrupt the tree root systems, and of course you wouldn't be watering AstroTurf, so the trees you'll be creating a desert in order to have AstroTurf. And the trees will die, and it's ridiculous. That's not an improvement. That's criminal, in fact. You're going to save water, so to install plastic grass, you're cutting off the sprinklers, you're creating a desert. With all the commentary about preserving the environment and being green, that's really short-sighted to kill a bunch of old trees and grass, which are self-cleaning. Naturally occurring bacteria renew the grass and replenish the roots and everything. What will clean the AstroTurf when homeless people and stray dogs and birds relieve themselves on it? It's just going to sit there, and it'll be dangerous for children to play in. And then the trees will die. The trees aren't broken. Don't fix what isn't broken. Take the tax dollars you've allocated for AstroTurf and expand your recycled water system. Hello? Don't kill the trees. Don't kill the grass. put the money to something that actually promotes the growth of green living things. How about that? Just a thought.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. The next card I have is Christiana Glassner.
Hello, Council. I'd like to piggyback on John and Steve's comments that the placement of AstroTurf, yes, it will destroy the nutrients that go down into the roots of the trees. It will not allow the bugs to decay and supply needed nutrients. Leaves are decaying, everything decays, and it will not go down. That AstroTurf will stop it. That's one thing I'd like to say. The other is I'm a businesswoman here in Burbank, and I know that the city has spent tons of money on recycled water. A lot of people have to put the purple valves and the plaques on the buildings that say, we use recycled water, don't drink it. This is something that the city promoted for many years. Why aren't we using the recycled water for that? It would be perfect accompaniment, and you could all take credit for that. Because as you know, you're still promoting that program. The other thing I'd like to mention is that the destruction, the demolishing, and the rebuilding of that rec center for $27 million per your report, your staff report, construction costs are going up all the time, especially with the supply chain not being very good right now and continuing in the near future. So I'd like to remind y'all that the 17% increase in the last year seems to be going further. By the time that project would be completed, $27 million won't be $27 million, more like 50. And each city is taxed and has always a project that goes millions and millions and millions, tens of millions of dollars over the estimated cost. I really strongly believe we should do nothing but rebuild or renovate, not demolish and rebuild. Renovation would be the way to go. You can see every city is taxed, every city is strapped with budgets that go way over plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Glassner. The last card I have is Kathleen Stewart. If anybody would like to speak and hasn't submitted a yellow card, please do so now.
Thank you for giving us this opportunity to speak to you. Thank you for having on your website, wait, let me go back to my timing here. There it is, whoops. Stop, start. There. Thank you for having on your website the plan that's currently proposed. I was able to look at it and have some thoughts of it. I want to say I am interested in preserving, first and foremost, the corner where I do my Tai Chi and my Qigong, and other people I have seen do just group exercises. A whole group of ladies who used to go to Curves goes there on a morning. Many people are having a picnic. The one lady comes every week with her grandson, small guy, and they sit on that grass and we walk on that grass and we have the air and the feeling of these trees and the oxygen these trees are giving us and the feeling that comes from the ground. So this is my interest. So my husband and I, in our backyard, are considering putting in AstroTurf. So our dog has a place to poo, because right now it's just dirt. So we have learned a little bit about it. Installation requires scraping away whatever's there, if there's anything, grading the earth, going down at least 3 inches to begin to make your base, putting the decomposed gravel, pounding it down, and it also has a binder board around the edge of it, so they've got something to bring it up to and pull it tight. Nails every 6 inches going in. This will be stabbing into our dear roots of these wonderful trees. And as so aptly put, the trees aren't going to breathe so well. And if that's not enough, once you've got the AstroTurf down, then you take these little granules and you push them down and you brush them in and you get them in, it helps the blades stand up straight. This isn't going to help our trees ever get the water they need. I believe already we're watering with recycled water. Yes. I want to thank Chrissy and Steve and John for all talking about the things that do happen, because you won't stop watering the AstroTurf. When I visit friends in Las Vegas, they have AstroTurf, but they have a sprinkler system to water the dust off it, to water the dog pee off it. So you aren't going to save that water. What you're going to do is you're going to spend money. And I believe we've got $105,000 for number 10. I would like to see this apply not just to the corner I'm interested in West Clark and North Griffith, but all the way around West Clark to the end of the park. That's where these big sycamore trees are. These are the ones that are most Californian. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Stewart.
Thank you.
No more cards? Fill out a yellow card, please. If you'd like to fill out a yellow card, I'll wait for you, but you have to fill out a yellow card if you want to talk. Next card is Candy, I hope I get this right, Donadeo? Thank you. Please approach the podium.
Yes, my name is Candy Donadio. I didn't fill out a card right away because it's so overwhelming to me with this master plan. I have gone to the meetings, I have taken the surveys, and I have been trying to save the corner of Griffith Park and Clark, where I take my Qigong classes, which has changed my life. And it's beautiful, and all the trees throughout the park. I live right across the street in the senior building, and I don't socialize with my neighbors. When I become depressed, I immediately walk to the park. And I can't stand to know that they're going to remove the grass. And in the beginning, they say they were going to cut down trees. Now they're saying they're not. However, I don't believe a word of what they say because they contradict themselves a lot. Those trees and that grass should be kept. And they're talking about all these flower beds that they're going to plant. And I would like to really know who's going to take care of them, because the flower beds that are in the park right now are not taken care of. So why are you going to pull up stuff or destroy stuff and not have anybody take care of it? We could use the recycled water, and we could keep our plants, and especially the trees, which are giving us oxygen, and leave them there to give us shade and give birds homes and the squirrels. And most important, I would like to save the corner of Griffith Park Drive and Clark. That corner is very special to many, many people. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. The last card I have is Cassandra Adams.
Hi, I'm Cassandra Adams. I hadn't planned on speaking, didn't prepare anything, but I feel so strongly. I've lived in Burbank 65 years. I grew up there. Those trees watched me grow up. I come from a generation where the word plastic was considered anathema. You see the movie with Dustin Hoffman, and the key word was plastic. The idea of replacing earth, growing things, in a time when we're all focusing on being green is so egregious to me. I don't know what to call it. To have something fake replacing something so real. My husband teaches Tai Chi, they do Qigong. Those are practices that involve rooting, grounding with the earth, not plastic, the earth. And I just think this is a loss that will be regretted by so many people who the trees watched grow up too. So sorry I'm not more prepared, but I feel so strongly about it that I wanted to say something. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Adams. I have no more yellow cards. So that is the end of public comment. Thank you for your comments. We will now close the public comment period. I'm sorry? Oh, I'm sorry, yes. Do we have any phone calls?
There are no callers in for public comment at
No
this time.
calls. Okay, so now we will close the public comment period. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ignore that. And it's now time for the response to public comment. Any board members? Ms. Ramsey.
I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who commented. I hear your passion. I hear that coming through, so thank you. I have full confidence in the department, the Parks and Rec department. I have full confidence in this board. We hear you, we hear your concerns, and I know that we will listen adamantly and hear your concerns, and we'll do our best to do what we can.
Thank you, Board Member Ramsey. Board Member Masselian.
Excuse me. Echoing Ashley, I think it's very important to preserve our nature in Burbank. As obviously, we live in California, which, nature is, a big part of our lives and our community. So wholeheartedly love hearing all those comments and how important the park and the nature is to all of you and how the role it plays in your daily lives. So thank you for expressing that. I definitely think this is something we need to go back and discuss and figure out, the right, approach and make sure that everything we're doing is prepared correctly. And then that information is then shared to everyone and educate everyone as to the reasons to the decisions that are made. So obviously, a lot of your comments are going to be taken, very genuinely and sincerely. So just wanted to let you guys know, thank you for coming out and expressing, and that's all I had to say.
Thank you, Ara. So I've had the wonderful opportunity to work, to work with this staff for over a decade. Excuse me. And I hear your comments, and I'm happy that you came to talk about those things. That's the reason that we do this the way we do this. We are here to serve the community, not just the board, but the staff, everybody on the staff, and I know they have a passion. I'd like to remind everybody, we are a tree city. We have been a tree city for 75 years, is that correct? 47, oh, I'm sorry, 47 years, my numbers got 47 years. Every year, I have the opportunity to attend that Tree City ceremony where we celebrate the fact that we love our trees, we plant more trees every year, and I'm not a forestry person, I'm not a staff member, but I can assure everybody in this room and anybody listening that this staff will not allow those trees to go away under any circumstances. And And I can't speak for them because I'm not a staff member, but I know them, and I know how much they care about the trees in our community. Whether or not this plan gets adopted is another story, but we have brought it to the public so that you can chime in, you can tell us what your thoughts are. I can tell you we have a city council person sitting here today, and thank you, Councilmember Springer, and I can assure you that the council will hear all of these comments and take them under consideration. But thank you for your comments, and we'll see what the outcome is. Thank you. Mrs. Ceballos, would you like to comment?
Just very briefly, and we'll go into this a little bit more in the staff report. We're lucky enough to have our RJM representative here that is going to talk a little bit more about this and just provide some really clear communication and education on this. But just to be abundantly clear, there's in the IZA Park Master Plan, there is no call for artificial turf. When you see the word turf, we're talking about natural turf. And we're going to go a little bit more in detail about the Park Master Plan at George Izay Park. We do have it out here for you to review, but we're going to go into a lot of detail. So we hear you. On the tree canopy, I've got a couple of notes here, and I won't go into too much detail, but we're looking to augment our tree canopy. We're looking to include 102 new trees as part of this proposal. So we hear you in just this one park. So we'll talk a little bit more about it. We'll present it to you tonight, and I hope that you stay through the entire presentation, and we really thank you for being here. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Mrs. Ceballos. So I'm not sure which one of us is supposed to read these e-comments. Is that you or me? Me? You?
So you're not to read them, only to say that, Chair Gasal, we do have two e-comments, and they have been printed and presented to the board.
Thank you. So, thank you. So we do have two comments, and these two comments happen to be for people who have addressed this board this evening, and basically said similar things to what they've written here, and that is from Ms. Stewart and Ms. Glassner. And thank you for your e-comments. We appreciate those as well. Any park board comments on liaison assignments or any such thing? Ms. Durbin.
I did want to mention that I attended the Burbank Athletic Federation board meeting and saw a fantastic presentation on what is going to be happening in Burbank, in Bryce Canyon Park. I think we will also be hearing about it in the near future here at the board. But really well done and exciting news to come.
Thank you, Board Member Durbin. It's now time for new business and what you've all been waiting for, and that would be the George Izay Park Public Engagement and Master Plan Process Update. Mr. Ceballos, you're back up.
Thank you, sir. Chair Gasal, members of the board, today we are going to be presenting the George Izay Public Engagement Process and Park Master Plan. In May 2021, the Parks and Recreation Department initiated a request for proposal to select a consultant firm to develop a public engagement framework to determine the needs of the George Izay Park, its buildings and amenities. As a result of an extensive deliberation and competitive scoring process, on September 3rd, 2021, RJM Design Group was awarded the George Izay Public Engagement Project. The department prioritizes community engagement and the value that it brings to a thoughtful and inclusive decision-making process. This evening, Tamara McClory from RJM Design Group will provide a comprehensive summary of the public engagement process that has led to the development of a park master plan along with a conceptual plan. So without any further ado, I'd like to present Tamara McClory from RJM Design Group.
Thank you, Diego, and good evening, Chair and board members. It's nice to see many of you again, as well as those of you in the audience I recognize from many of our community workshops. So before I start the presentation, I'll just reiterate the point that we just mentioned. There is no artificial or AstroTurf proposed as part of the conceptual plan. We use the term turf regarding natural grass. So we know and value how important the ecosystem is in the park currently and those wonderful trees that are there, and we certainly want to preserve that to the best of our ability. So again, thank you all for the comments. We do appreciate the input. So that being said, so tonight I'm going to summarize our process as working with the city. Our job really at RJM was to listen to the community, to engage the public, understand their wants and needs regarding what their vision is for George's A Park. And that's really the purpose of the master plan, to gather community input and build a framework that represents the vision, the future vision of the park site. So this process first started back in October of last year with inventory and analysis of the existing park conditions. We studied the park amenities, facilities, buildings on site. And then we also did a demographic assessment of the city of Burbank to better understand who is the community, who uses the park, what those people look like. And then we began our extensive community outreach, which included workshops and online surveys. And from there, we were able to develop our conceptual park master plan and develop an overall master plan report and cost analysis. And so here tonight, we are here to present a summary of those findings, and eventually we will be going to City Council. So the important thing is the community outreach process is an ongoing process. We are not done. This project is resulting in a living, working document. So we hope to continue to gather input from the community and continue to build the vision of George's A Park. So as I mentioned, our project timeline started back in October. Followed by a virtual online presentation and survey number 1. We did a multimodal community survey that reached over 400 participants. We also conducted stakeholder interviews, a second online survey, city-hosted pop-up events advertising the project, followed by an in-person community design charrette. And then we developed our conceptual park master plan, and that was presented during a second community feedback workshop where we gathered more additional input and developed the final master plan report and recommendations, which is what we'll share with you tonight. So as I mentioned, here's a very brief and quick summary of our project background, our site inventory and analysis, studying all the facilities in the park, what opportunities and constraints may exist, as well as other important features. And as we began our community outreach project, we developed a dedicated project website. And this website was a hub for project information, our online surveys. We also had a virtual 360 park tour for people who may not be familiar with the park. And all the information that we've gathered and made public is available on the website today. And the website is still live. And we also have feedback opportunities. So at any point in time, anyone can go on the website, leave a feedback comment, and we continue to monitor and gather that information. So to date, or I'll say as of about a month ago, so many of these numbers have increased. We've had over 8,000 website views. Our first survey had over 800 participants. Our second survey had over 600 participants. We interviewed 15 stakeholders, 400 multimodal participants, and we also had about 60 community members at each in-person workshop, as well as 287 feedback comments on the website. So our first online opportunity, Survey 1, we asked some specific questions related to the park. How do you recreate at the park? Our top answers were playground, walking, softball, baseball, picnicking. Then we also asked, what do you like most about George's A Park? The location, the old playground equipment, open space, the number of activities available, and shade were mentioned. We also asked, what do you dislike most about the park? The new play structure, nothing. Lack of 5 to 12-year-old play equipment, the downgraded play equipment, and the outdated facilities within the park. We then asked, what facility improvements would you like to see? And we mostly heard about the playground again, a variety of play equipment, 5 to 12 play equipment, restroom improvements, pickleball, and unique or interesting play equipment. Our multimodal survey, we asked a number of different questions as well to understand who the park users are, and we came to find out that about 53% engage in passive recreation at the park, and 30% recreate by walking or dog walking. And I failed to mention earlier, but the highlighted colors on the slides represent the common themes. So if you see green, that's where we heard about passive recreation. Blue, walking or dog walking. So with the results of Survey 1, we formulated Survey 2 to ask more specific questions related to the playground to better understand if the playground equipment was upgraded in the future, what type of equipment would they like to see? Our top answers were climbing, swings, 5 to 12 play equipment, slides, and more equipment in general. Understanding to date, based on Survey 1 and the multimodal survey results, how important the park is for passive recreation to community members, we asked how people would feel about improving pedestrian circulation within the park, with opportunities to maximize recreation programming, community event space, walking, seed, shading, and open space. And overwhelmingly, we heard support for doing so. We also asked what kind of renovations would best serve each facility. And this is a result, again, from answers we gathered in Survey 1 and the multimodal survey related to the outdated buildings and facilities. So for the Olive Recreation Center, we heard major interior and exterior renovations were preferred, although overall we do see people want renovations in some regard. As well as for the Betsy Lukey Creative Arts Center, we heard minor renovations being the most important. The Burbank Little Theater, we also heard minor renovations, as well as for the Jocelyn Adult Center. Next, we conducted our stakeholder interviews, where we asked the same questions that were on the online surveys, as well as other questions specific to the groups that we were interviewing. And our top answers were related to renovating the children's playground, activating park spaces with picnic and shade opportunities, improving lighting and security, concern about the outdated buildings and facilities, as well as opportunity to add more recreation programming. Following our stakeholder interviews, we conducted our in-person community design charrette, and this was held at the Olive Recreation Center As I mentioned before, we had over 60 participants, which was a great outcome. And for that workshop, we first conducted a site awareness tour and presentation. So we presented the site analysis information that we had gathered to date, as well as the current results of the community outreach done. And then we took everyone on a park tour of the park, highlighting different facilities and amenities that they may not be familiar with. After that, we then broke up the participants into groups and performed our design charrette opportunity. So each group received a template like this. It's a park plan of the park. And they were given different colored amenity templates, such as picnic tables, buildings, tennis courts, pickleball courts, that were scaled appropriate to the size of the plan. And each group was directed to design their perfect park based on what their vision is. So here you see the group plans that were a result of the workshop. So our job after the workshop, or I should say during, the group plans were presented and shared with everyone. And then our job after was to take the group plans and interpret them piece by piece into our bubble plans. Just a simple graphic representation of everything we heard during the workshop. That led us to the development of the Composite Plan, which was an opportunity to take each of the group plans and lay them one on top of another to see where common features may exist. So by doing so, we were able to identify, for example, ball fields. Several groups suggested changing the orientation of the 4 fields, whereas other groups suggested keeping them or eliminating a field. So doing that for all the amenities, we were able to develop our consensus plan, where 2 or more groups identified the same element in generally the same location. Which then led us to develop the Conceptual Park Master Plan illustrative bubble diagram. So a more in-depth plan that represents the consensus plan as well as all the community input we have heard to date, not just during the workshop, but through the other online surveys and interviews. So this plan was then presented at our next in-person feedback workshop, also hosted at the Olive Recreation Center. We had 66 community members attend, and we followed a similar format as the first workshop, where we presented all our project findings to date, including the outreach opportunities and results, all the group workshop plans I previously showed you, as well as the feedback plan, the bubble diagram plan. Oops. And during that workshop, we then asked community members to utilize Post-it notes and comment cards to leave their feedback on the bubble plan, as well as all of the other exhibits previously prepared. At the completion of the workshop, we then took all the information we heard that night, as well as all the other community feedback we had received to date, and created a summary chart indicating kind of what the top comments we had heard to date were. And as you can see, many of them are a reoccurring theme: parking, picnic tables, seating, the playground, walking paths, renovate buildings, programming, the recreation center. So by doing this, we were able to, again, summarize those top needs and develop, I think I'm going the wrong way, from this plan into the Conceptual Park Master Plan.
And as we know, there's a lot of information on this slide, so I'll do my best to highlight some of the main features of the plan. So first, looking at the buildings, we are recommending possible removal of the existing Olive Recreation Center and rebuilding a new facility with a larger footprint that offers more programming and recreation opportunities. We're also recommending to remove and replace the Burbank Little Theater with a new multi-purpose theater that would also have a bigger footprint and could function as a community room with additional staff offices and lobby and exterior park restrooms. And a key feature of these two buildings is the opportunity to create a covered event breezeway between the two, creating a pedestrian-friendly plaza that gives opportunity for future programming and pedestrian-friendly activities. In addition, we're recommending renovations of the Betsy Lukey Creative Arts Center with minor interior and exterior improvements only, as well as relocating the Arts Center gallery to the new Olive Recreation Center with opportunity for indoor and outdoor rotating gallery space, utilizing the new pedestrian corridor or adjacent to the ball field. And for the Jocelyn Center, we're also recommending minor interior and exterior renovations with opportunity to improve maintenance operations and functionality, as well as renovating the existing park restrooms near the Jocelyn Adult Center, and as I mentioned, relocating the standalone park restrooms to the exterior of the Burbank Little Theater building. One of the next key features is the ball field. As you may have noticed on the workshop plans as well as the bubble diagram plans, those indicated the fields oriented the opposite way with the diamonds in the center versus on the exterior. And our recommendation is to maintain the existing footprint to date as a way to maintain and utilize the open space when the fields aren't in use for passive park users who play ultimate frisbee, pickup soccer, as well as other activities. We are recommending renovation, though, of the bleachers and other ball containment netting and features such as that. Pedestrian walkways, we're also suggesting to expand existing pedestrian walkways, preserve all the existing trees and turf meaning natural grass, not astroturf, as well as adding enhanced native shrub and ground cover areas with opportunity to add exercise stations or passive fitness opportunities. And our next topic is the playground. Currently, it's primarily 2 to 5 year old play equipment, so we're recommending expanding the footprint to include 5 to 12 playground equipment opportunities. We know that's a big need, especially with Walt Disney Elementary across the street. The 5 to 12 is important. And including new equipment like climbers, spinners, and swings per the public comments that we've heard. Another important feature is improvement of the existing parking lot behind the Olive Recreation Center, modifying the lot to only provide ADA parking there as well as a loading and unloading zone. So trying to minimize pedestrian and vehicular conflicts and activity. We know that's a very busy space currently, and with the proximity of the playground, it's an important feature to be aware of. So by extending that plaza and shortening the parking lot, opportunity to minimize those conflicts, hopefully. Sustainability, as I mentioned, we've heard how important the trees and existing grasses within the park and how well loved it is by the community. So maintaining those, maintaining the existing recycled water system that's in the park, as well as improving and adding more drought-tolerant landscaping as appropriate to keep things water efficient. And park amenities, continuing to improve or upgrade where necessary existing park amenities, trash cans, seating opportunities, picnic tables, drinking fountains, bike racks, as well as site lighting to improve security. So in developing the master plan and those key features, we developed a number of key strategies that can be used to accomplish the goals of the master plan, including new or enhanced recreation facilities, improved park amenities, preserve and enhance open space, trees, and natural landscapes, preserve and expand active sport recreation facilities, provide opportunities for passive recreation and exercise, preserve and expand availability of recreation programming, as well as provide a citywide park and recreation master plan and enhance the 2 to 5 and 5 to 12 play equipment. I didn't previously touch on key strategy 7, but in our report, there's more extensive information regarding this. But something that came up throughout the community input and outreach process were a need or desire of residents to add facilities like aquatic, splash pad opportunities, or community gardens at this park. And while those are all really important recreation facilities and amenities, knowing what capital improvement plans are in the works at other parks or other projects in the city allowed us to eliminate those from this plan, knowing that they will be serving the community elsewhere. So by providing a citywide park and recreation master plan, recreation planning can be looked at as a whole, and future recommendations can be made on that broader scale with that information in mind. Next, we prepared a order of magnitude cost estimate for the proposed master plan. And as someone mentioned, a $27 million building is quite a chunk of change for the recreation center. You know, RJM, we're landscape architects and planners, and we have the honor of seeing a lot of projects we design built. So we do have an understanding for the construction industry and how complicated it is right now due to labor, material costs, supply chains, just raising costs overall. So, you know, doing a cost estimate on a pretty picture, while we're good at what we do, it's a cartoon right now. So our recommendation is to prepare and perform additional design feasibility studies, design development studies to better understand the realities of the opportunities and constraints and where projects may actually start or exist, and to further develop those cost recommendations as we get further in design. Jump back to that. So after preparing the cost analysis, we then looked at phasing in a very, very broad brush manner, knowing full well that CIP budgets, funding, grant opportunities heavily influence how a project may be built or constructed and what its timeline is. And obviously a park of this size, almost 17 acres, all the improvements won't be done at once. So looking at, again, very broad, big picture recommendations, how the project or park rather, could be broken up into more bite-sized chunks. Knowing that each of these phases here are probably 10 projects in one at least. So made some general recommendations as far as timing and phasing. And in doing so, the master plan also can be used as a tool for future funding opportunities. So community development block grants, prevention and public health grants, housing development, outdoor equity grants, prevention and public health, are all opportunities that can be utilized to achieve the ultimate vision of the master plan. So next steps tonight, as I just mentioned, we've completed our report summary and the conceptual plan, but our website is still live. We're still receiving feedback, comments, and we welcome any input the community has on the current conceptual plan. And as I might have mentioned before, the plan and report are a living document. So we don't see this process ending with us today. Our job is to listen and to continue to assist in any way to see that the ultimate vision is achieved. Any questions?
Board members? Do we have any questions? Board Member Marcellian.
I just have first of all, that was a very elaborate, long presentation, so thank you for taking us through that.
I'm sorry it was so long.
No, it was great. It was very detailed, so everyone
you.
appreciates it. I just meant for you to stand there and talk that whole time.
Yes. Thank you.
But my question is, I like the idea of the pedestrian, kind of making it more pedestrian friendly.
Yes.
But then that seemed like, correct me if I'm wrong, eliminating parking at the park. So what is because I know right now there's a lot of activity happening at the park, and I personally go there to take my daughter to tennis and then play, and parking alone is already difficult. So if you eliminate that parking, what is the plan? Is it just at this point everyone vies for street parking, or is there another opportunity to put a parking somewhere else, or what's the thought behind that?
That's a great question, and that's probably one of the biggest crux of the proposal. Shortening the parking lot or eliminating stalls that we currently have and potentially building a new building. We anticipate there being traffic requirements that have to be met, and eliminating parking may not be a true option in reality. That's our hope and goal, to create this pedestrian-friendly corridor. So as the plan is now, the goal is really to educate and hopefully encourage park users to utilize the large parking lot, adjacent to Clark and Griffin, that isn't typically as full as that smaller lot is behind the buildings. And while that's a longer trek for maybe people going to the art gallery or the Jocelyn Center, by only keeping ADA stalls in that smaller lot, the people who hopefully need them the most have that access, but there is still that unloading and unloading zone. So if you have to drop something off, drop supplies off, it's still convenient. So the goal is really just to utilize as best we can what's there in the existing lot, street parking, and see what gets triggered based on potential building changes.
If I can just elaborate just a little bit more on that. Like Mrs. McClory had mentioned, a full parking analysis will have to be done. But just to put this into context, we have 310 current spaces available at that park, 310 current spaces. And we're looking, the proposal for eliminating and creating a pedestrian walkway there is because really important. We have a playground that is there that's highly utilized. We're looking to redevelop that playground to enhance it with more play equipment, and now we have children that are navigating between the playground and the building through an active parking lot. And so what we want to be able to do is think about safety constraints along with working through a visioning process of creating an optimal corridor for pedestrian traffic. So that's really where, and again, this is a professional analysis made from the years of experience that we have looking at little balls going through the parking lot and kids chasing after them, right? And then also understanding that there is a need for parents to be able to drop off, right? And have kids safely navigate either to a playground and or into a rec center and into a sport that we currently don't have that drop-off element to that facility. So again, a full feasibility study will be done to make sure that we meet all the requirements.
Board Member Ramsey, please.
Thank you for this report, for the thoroughness. I'm just amazed that it is very thorough, so thank you so much. And I think thank you for listening. You obviously had a lot of people's input, between surveys, online, the community workshops, which I got to attend one of them.
Great.
So, it's you obviously took a lot of people's opinions into consideration, so thank you. I do have a couple of questions.
Sure.
So you might have said this, and maybe you don't really have like a definite timeline, but is there a timeline for each phase, or is that still kind of up in the air based on city council?
It's to be determined.
Okay.
Like Diego mentioned, traffic studies, additional design studies, building programming and feasibility studies to develop floor plans. More in-depth analysis needs to be done kind of as the next stage of design. And then that's probably the opportunity where some decisions might be made as far as priorities for phasing. And then typically design development documents would be produced after that. So beyond that, I don't have any input to share, unfortunately.
And then I do have one more question. The Olive Rec Center, is that the proposal is what exactly?
The proposal currently is to demolish and rebuild a new building in generally the same location but a bigger footprint. The beauty of that building and the Little Theater being proposed, and again, generally the same location, is if that's not feasible due to funding, XYZ, all the other factors at play, there may be opportunity to do a heavy renovation instead, where the footprint is partially maintained and the building can be expanded and improved.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Board Member Durbin?
Thank you. And thank you for the presentation. It was fantastic.
Thank you.
And I think just to add on to what Ashley said, the new multipurpose facility, which would be taking over the Little Theater space, the price tag on that, it's just extraordinary. But what exactly would that entail? Like, is that just raising it and then starting from scratch, obviously, but what would it be?
The vision for that building is a stage, so there is opportunity for performance, and whether there are, roll-up doors with opportunity for inside-outside access and performance opportunities to that pedestrian plaza that the building's going to face, that's a priority. We've heard throughout this process how important that theater is, obviously how important cultural arts are in Burbank and the need and desire, but also keeping that building flexible. So if after hours there's a Girl Scout meeting there, the community has access to it and it's usable in different formats beyond just theater type seating that may be limiting. And then with exterior park restroom access, conjoining those two buildings, creating more space in the park for that expanded playground footprint, just really creating that pedestrian-friendly zone that everyone has access to and can utilize.
Right, thank you. And one other question, it's sort of, I mean, this is a lot to digest.
I'm sure.
And so at this part of the process, where would you say, are you 10% in, 20% in to the end goal? Like how far in is this?
That's a great question. I'm thinking out loud.
So that's a good question. And so right now, what this master plan is a collection of all of the community input that we have gathered over 10 months. That wonderful slide that Tamara presented, where we have over 11,000 people contributing in one way or another. So this is really a visioning process, right? And so what we want to do tonight is present it to the park board, have you give us your input. I know a lot of you have already participated in those in-person meetings, but what we want to do is have a formal platform for you to provide that information to us. Once we have that master plan developed, we bring it to council. It gets adopted, if you will, or presented and supported. Then we will start doing the heavy lifting and going and looking for funding opportunities, whether it's grants, future budget allocations, small projects that, we can start prioritizing based on that phase-in schedule. So those would be natural next steps, right? But we're not there yet. Right now, we're at the final phases of our community input that will continue through that council presentation, and which is why I'm so delighted that we have so many people here continuing to give us their input and share their thoughts. So that's where we are today.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you.
Oh, thank you.
So I have a couple of things for you, Tamara.
Sure.
So first of all, not only do I want to thank you for this presentation tonight, but I was at some of those events, and I watched and listened to you and your staff talk to the people of our community and have an interest in answering all their questions. And I'm sure staff has thanked you for that. I want to thank you for that as well, because I think you guys did a great job. I was very, very impressed, and it was great to see the input from people. So a couple of things, and I'm not going to talk much about this because, frankly, this report speaks for itself. I am going to jump ahead, though, a little bit and talk about our next topic, and I'm going to come back to you in a second, is the facility tour proposal. And on that facility tour proposal is we have Isaiah Park, pickleball courts, tennis courts, playground, et cetera, I think it would be a good idea to add the rec center to that, because no one on this board was on this board when we took our last tour of that rec center and saw how much wasted space is in that building and how much that building needs, I'm sorry to say this, to be demolished. There's so much wasted space there and I know that we've had discussion about how we can make that usable space, and I'm not sure that's possible. I'm not an architect. She is. But I think we should add that to that facilities tour. I think it'll take us another 10 minutes or 15 minutes to go through that building, and I'd like to see that added on. And those facilities tours always do great stuff for us. So thank you again. Great presentation.
Thank you.
A lot to digest.
Yes.
But again, I wanted to thank you for the way, I know it's your job, but I want to thank you for the way you and your staff dealt with our constituency and listened to them and took their information and put it together so that we could come up with a comprehensive plan that works for everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. If that's it. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Okay. Ms. Coronado, could you talk to us about a proposed facilities tour? Oh, I'm sorry.
Good evening once again, board members. I'd like to share the final report of the evening regarding the facility tour proposed meeting dates. Annually, the board participates in a department tour of parks and facilities. And typically, the points of interest on the tour include completed capital improvement projects, unfunded priority projects, and if time permits, a recreation class demonstration. And based on your feedback, we'll add the Olive Recreation Center. Similar to last year, staff is proposing to conduct an in-person tour. If it is the desire of the board, staff proposes a special meeting dedicated for this facility tour. The proposed dates and time are Thursday, October 6th, Thursday, October 20th, Thursday, October 27th, and all of which the times will be from 4 to 6 p.m. The facility tour agenda is being developed and will be shared with the board at the September 9th board meeting. Prior to deliberation, I would like to note that the board is still scheduled to meet on October 13th, which is the normal park board meeting. So the tour will not replace the existing park board meeting. It is an addition to. This concludes the brief report that you have before you this evening. And I would like to, if you would like to share the pleasure of the board. Thank you so much. That concludes the presentation.
Thank you, Grace. Has anybody had a chance to look at those dates? That's the only date that does not work for me. 20th and 27th. Either one of those dates works for me. 27th. Ms. Ramsey? 27th is good?
27?
I think we've decided on October 27th from 4 to 6 p.m.
Okay, so October 27th, 4 to 6 p.m., and we'll make sure to include the Olive Recreation Center as part of the tour.
What are all the facilities we'll be visiting in that tour?
So once we kind of compile what that looks like, I know that one of the facilities that the board has desired to visit is the Starlight Bowl. It's actually a great time because it has multi-purposes. They're going to be setting up for one of their large events, the Haunted Adventure. But it's really good to get the board out there, walk the facility, and see everything that we have.
And when are you proposing that?
That would be part of the October 27th tour from 4 to 6 p.m.
So we would be able to fit all 5 of these things plus a Starlight Bowl?
So we're currently developing the agenda. We'll make sure that we find an efficient route per the time that we're allotted. So once we figure out which capital improvement projects we want to highlight that have been completed or what's on the capital improvement project list, we'll kind of identify those focus areas.
I frankly think that it's a great idea to include the Starlight Bowl in this because I'm hoping that comes back to this board sometime in the near future. So great, let us know.
Great, thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, excuse me. It is now time for the consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered routine by department staff and may be enacted on by this board in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless, before the board votes on the motion to approve the recommendations, board members, staff, or public request specific items be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Removed consent items will be discussed separately. Included in the consent calendar is the approval of minutes from the June 9th, 2020, that's correct, June 9th, 2022 meeting, the City Council agenda items update, contract compliance, the Park Patrol report, the departmental operations update. Is there any board member that would like to remove anything from the consent calendar? Seeing none, we will take the consent calendar as written. Can I get a motion from someone?
A motion to
Approve as written?
Approve as is.
Thank you so much.
I second.
Ms. Durbin, second. Any further comments? Seeing no further comments, by show of hands, all those in favor? It is unanimous, 4-0. Ms. Camino is not present. Okay. Excuse me. Mrs. Ceballos, do we have any tabled items?
None at this time.
Thank you. I'm going to call for the introduction of any new agenda items. Would you like to make a, okay. I would like to add an agenda item. I would like to have a discussion about the Hilltop Grill. So can we add that to the agenda sometime in the near future?
Yes, we can.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry, Chair Gasal, can you be a little bit more specific?
Yeah, yes, I can. I'm a big supporter of Touchstone and the job they've done with the golf course. They've done an amazing job. And as many of you will recall, I was not in favor at the very beginning when they were appointed. I have since apologized to their management and told them that they've done a great job. I'm having a little bit of a problem with the Hilltop Grill. I think the operation there is not as successful as the golf course, and I'd like to throw it up for discussion and see if we can't reach some kind of an agreement to expand its service and improve its service.
We'll bring that topic back.
Thank you. Doesn't have to be tomorrow, but any board members have any comments to make before we adjourn? Great. Thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you all for your comments and participation. We stand adjourned.